In this video, I am joined by the Italiano Citrus George as we talk all about this new addition to the Disneyland Hotel, the Villas, the DVC Tower. We're also going to talk about these cute little droids that have made an appearance at Galaxy's Edge, and we're also going to dive into that new parking structure. We got some new art for the parking structure off of Harbor Boulevard, which is probably going to be part of Disneyland Forward, up next on OG 55. Welcome aboard to another episode of OG 55. I am joined by the Italiano Citrus George. We're talking the Disneyland Hotel. We're talking parking structures. We are talking droids at Galaxy's Edge, all kinds of stuff on today's show. George, if you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You could find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on the podcast, A Walk with Walt. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. I'm going to put you in here. There we go. It's official. It's official. So let's start off with the Disneyland Hotel. This has been a topic now for a little while. Let's go ahead and pull up my screen real quick. This is actually from Just Ask Danny. Danny's a friend of the channel. He's actually a collaborator with Mondo over at Five Fires. George and I are huge fans of their work over there. Danny's got his own YouTube channel, does phenomenal work. I will link it down below. Definitely subscribe to him, show him some love. But he had the opportunity to kind of tour this new tower, which you can see here. And I want to kind of play the video, and then George and I will kind of break it down as we go. Kind of like what we did with Hey Bricky, right? Exactly. Same kind of idea. So we'll go through it. We'll break it down. So I'm going to go ahead and press play, and we'll get started here.
Of what's new and what's happening all about the Disneyland Hotel, because of course just last weekend the Disneyland Resort opened its newest Disney Vacation Club property over at the Disneyland Hotel, which was the addition of the Discovery Tower, the fourth tower at the Disneyland Hotel, which is almost completely comprised of Disney Vacation Club villas. This is the second Disney Vacation Club property at the Disneyland Resort, and it's a monumental occasion for the property. Disneyland Hotel's newest Discovery Tower features 300 and
Okay, so right out the gate, what I love about this new tower, and I made no bones about it. I wish that all the towers at Disneyland Hotel would go ahead and get this same aesthetic. Will they do that? I don't know, but I would love it. But what I love what they do here is that they take the original Disneyland Hotel kind of flavor and they modernize it in a way where it's fresh, it's clean, it's new, but it still kind of feels like the old towers. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Well, what are your thoughts on what you've seen so far, George?
Yeah, I agree with you. Aesthetically, I think it's very eye appeasing, to what you're looking at. I do agree with you. I feel like it is a more modernized take on the original Disneyland Hotel. And my only thing is, just like you, it kind of throws it off a bit because it is so updated and new that When you look at the other towers, they are a bit outdated to say the least. So it's like now it feels like that the other three have to play catch up with this one. But that's like pinching, like my gripe about it, but as far as this tower alone, I love what they did. And I had mentioned this in a previous video, I think way back, that when they chose the name of this tower, that Discover like has nothing to do currently in the parks. But I had mentioned it that if they were to do something with a new Tomorrowland revamp or refresh, why not do like a Discovery Land? So I wonder if they're just kind of like dipping their toes into something that can be long extended even into the parks.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Let's continue.
44 new rooms added to that hotel, of which 326 are exclusive to Disney Vacation Club, leaving just a small number available to book year-round for regular guests. So it is mainly a Disney Vacation Club property, and a lot of those Disney Vacation Club members are really excited about that because Disney Vacation Club villas are a hard thing to come by if you're trying to visit the Disneyland Resort. When you think about unique things that make Disneyland, well, the Disneyland Hotel is definitely one of.
See, those are the old towers, those big blue Lego brick looking buildings. They're just hideous.
Yeah, again, it kind of like goes back to like how the Paradise Pier Hotel looked.
Yeah.
It's like they all have that same aesthetic look to them. It's like they need some identifying originality to them. Like when you go down to Florida and you look at the Contemporary, you're looking at the Contemporary. When you
There's
look
no
at
comparison.
The Grand Floridian, you're looking at and I'll even say to the fact of probably I say out of the three at Disneyland that the Grand Californian has the most distinct look to it.
Because that was really the only hotel on property that was built from the ground up being a Disney hotel. You know, these other ones were kind of like they were not Disney initially, and then Disney bought them and they bought into it. But these towers, these blue towers, I know a lot of fans have a lot of nostalgia, and a lot of fans, every time I tweet this, oh, they got to fix these towers, either bulldoze them and rebuild them or redo them to look like the new DVC. I get a lot of pushback and shit for it. They're not attractive. Like you said, after going to Walt Disney World, George, Disneyland needs to step it up. They need to step it up. And even out here in Southern California, you're only a 4-hour drive or so, a few hours away from Las Vegas. Even Las Vegas is putting Disneyland Resort to shame with the hotel game. Mm-hmm. So they really need to fix this stuff up, man. And these blue towers, I get it. Like they repainted it and they added the blue tinted windows a few years ago. It's just not enough. This new DVC tower, I think, is really the perfect kind of aesthetic for all these towers. It's mid-century. It feels kind of old school classic Disney, but yet it kind of pays homage to the old Disneyland Hotel as well. It pays homage to both the past and the present, and I absolutely love it.
And I will say too, I am glad that Disneyland is on the right track by adding another DVC to the resort, because I think that Walt Disney World, due to the scope of it, has a little bit too much, right, and Disneyland has a little bit too less. So I feel like they need more DVC property added to Disneyland, because I think the demand for it, more so in California right now, would be booming over Florida, in my opinion. So I think that this is a great route that Disney is starting to take by adding a little bit more of DVC to the Disneyland Resort.
Absolutely.
One of those things. So when you're talking about adding to this legacy, there's a lot of consideration that has to go in play in adding to something as historical as the Disneyland Hotel. And the rest of the Disneyland Hotel.
And see here, you can see the contrast of the old and the new. So the old is on the left and the new is on the right. It's just so much better. And I know a lot of people, I've seen stuff like people shitting on the new tower. I think it's this, that, and the other. I've seen all of it, you know what I'm saying?
But I think that's probably why. I think a lot of people are shitting on the new tower because it doesn't match the old ones. But I think they got to look at it at a different perspective. Don't look at the new tower being the eyesore. I think the eyesore is actually the original because of the new one that is actually now standing out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you like if you remodel your house, right? Or let's say you have a house, right, and you remodel your kitchen with all brand new stuff. The kitchen's going to stand out because it's brand fucking new and the rest of the house is outdated. That's what you're seeing here. It's like this is the brand new kitchen with all the new appliances, and this is your janky ass living room with 1985 television, you know? So that's the problem. You're right, George. They need to update them. And look, this is DVC, and these people pay an arm and a leg for DVC. So I'm not expecting like all of these to be the exact same, because obviously you have to incentivize the DVC people, right?
I say have a different color palette, but have it coexist with one another where it can kind of feel its way. Give like a distinction for fantasy, give a distinction for frontier. But give them an adventure, but give them different, unique looks to them, but where it kind of like it harmonizes together.
It makes me wonder too, the location, and this is pure speculation on my part, but it is an awkward kind of positioning with these towers. Like this one, you can see here, it's very close to the old one on the left, right?
Mm-hmm.
It makes me wonder if they're positioning this tower knowing that some of these other towers are going to be bulldozed eventually
And relocate in a different
right.
position.
A different position on property. Because remember, Disneyland Forward is coming, and that will get approved almost certainly. And if they're actually going to do right, if they're actually going to do what they claim they're going to do with the space, with the theme park integrated, they might have to position some of these older towers in new spots and rebuild them. So that's interesting to see, because this is an awkward placement right here.
It is. It really looks like it's like pushing like right up to it. It's almost like a grown tooth coming in, and it's pushing the baby tooth out from the.
Yeah, Disney kind of knows. Well, hey, that blue tower is going to be gone eventually. So they're kind of positioning things. So it's very interesting. That's just my speculation, but we'll see.
Hotel has a theme centered around, of course, Disneyland. So when they went to add a new tower to the hotel, and it was going to be different since it was Disney Vacation Club, there needed to be a little bit of a differentiation. And this tower is actually centered around the storytelling of the Walt Disney Animation Studios versus the theme parks. So you're going to see rooms and theming all throughout the tower, basically themed around your favorite animated movies like Frozen, Princess and the Frog, and Jungle Book, just to name a few. In fact, when you're welcomed home at this new tower and walk through those entry doors, as soon as you walk into the lobby, you're greeted by this amazing new mural that celebrates just that, the legacy of the Disney Animation Studios and all the.
And I love this. And a lot of people, a lot of fans will say, oh man, they should keep it all parks related, at the Disneyland Hotel. But they don't understand that the IP, the characters, the stories, the franchises are a huge element of Disneyland. And it's not just a new thing. It's not just Bob Iger bad and IP just suddenly came into the park when Iger came here. No, Disneyland was built on IP. Okay, Walt Disney trotted out fucking Davy Crockett in Frontierland, and Fantasyland was all IP, and all this stuff was to promote, his True Life Adventure series and all that stuff. So this is all IP from the beginning, characters and stories. So that's a huge element of the park. So it makes sense to have a tower dedicated to those characters and stories.
Absolutely. And as you said, that was his main goal. It was to go from the pages of a storybook and have it leap out into the real life, but bringing those characters and stories to life in a way where it would be very entertaining to the guests that enter through the parks. Yeah. So it's almost like a partnership. You needed the animation to have the parks, and then continuing on the parks that adds on for the animation. So it's, I think it's very, they coexist within one another. And I love how they intertwine different generations of the characters together in one piece of mural, because you have like the characters from the Renaissance era. You have the Lion King, you have Aladdin, you have Mulan back there. Then you have the golden age of animation where you have Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Alice in Wonderland, the Jungle Book. And then you have the newer generation where they added a little bit of Moana, which I know people will argue of saying Moana is becoming the staple character, that she's like everywhere. But
hey dude, she's the queen of Disney Plus. They're gonna push her. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, Moana, based on the numbers, everyone out there that follows Disney Plus numbers, you can vouch for me. Moana is a powerhouse on D Plus. There's a reason why she's out there like that, right? Yeah.
And that would be like any character, if Tangled was the #1 top contender on Disney Plus, we'd be seeing Rapunzel everywhere,
Right, exactly. So let's continue. This is beautiful art, by the way. I absolutely love
it. It is.
The different movies and characters that you know and love, with this beautiful new mural created exclusively for this particular property at the Disneyland Hotel by Disney animation artist Lorelei Beauvais. She's done things for Princess and the Frog and Encanto, so you'll definitely love just checking this out, finding all the different characters that you know and recognize all over the mural. And a lot of guests were taking pictures in front of this and just enjoying it as they, continue on through the rest of the property. Another way Walt Disney Imagineering actually themed the hotel's tower to pay homage to our favorite animated movies we're actually through these colored louvers that go up and down the building. Now, at first, I thought these were for privacy, and there's probably a little aspect of that for these particular things being installed, but they actually have a thematic element to them as well. Whereas each specific column, vertical column of these colored louvers represent the colors frame by frame broken down of our favorite animated.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a level of detail I did not expect. That is interesting. Very, very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. And that's why I loved it. This is an example of why I love Disney so much. No one does this, dude. No one does this.
Breaking down a color palette of animation of the stories and the characters by individual color cell. I wouldn't even think to even consider doing something.
I would have never have guessed that. That's fucking amazing.
Movies. They had one for Princess and the Frog, Frozen, Mulan, etc. So when you're going to the Disneyland Hotel and you're visiting the villas at the Disneyland Hotel, definitely check out this cool little detail because it definitely caught me by surprise when I was there in person seeing it last weekend. Now, you're probably wondering about rooms and accommodations at this newest addition to the Disneyland Hotel. And since it is a Disney Vacation Club property, you're going to find a wide mix of villas ranging from super small rooms that only sleep 2 people to large, massive 2-story rooms that sleep 9 to 12 people. When I was visiting the resort over opening weekend, I had an opportunity to visit the Deluxe Studio Villa, which accommodates up to 4 guests, and also the 1-bedroom villa, which accommodates up to 5 guests. Now, since these are vacation club villas, they sometimes feature a kitchen in the room, which
I don't know, OG sleeps 9 to 12 people. We might be having an OG 55 slumber party there.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Exactly, right? I mean, and it looks beautiful, man. It looks absolutely beautiful. I see so many people talking so much crap about this. You know, it's like you would think this was like a total dump. Like, this is very nice.
which is not something you typically find in a hotel room over at, say, Disney's Grand Californian Hotel or at the other rooms at the Disneyland Hotel. But the 2 rooms I was able to view and look at as far as different configurations, the studio or deluxe studio villa featured a kitchenette, which is sort of like a small little basic kitchen that has your microwave, your refrigerator, your counter and kitchen sink, and some other small appliances. And then the 1-bedroom villa, which featured a larger kitchen and also a dedicated dining space. Now, both rooms featured spacious bathrooms, but the 1-bedroom villa featured a much larger and more spacious bathroom.
Hold on. I got to go back a little bit, George. I got to ask you a question, brother.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just on our friends over Tone. We got Tones and Candid Camper, right? Mm-hmm. We were just on the Bad Thoughts podcast, which I will actually link the video at the very end of this one. You guys, everybody has to check it out. It's an adult video, though. I want to make that very clear. Do not watch it with your kids. It's for adults only. It's an adult conversation. But in that podcast, we talked about our favorite restrooms to go to the bathroom in. Mm-hmm. You know, and a lot of it's based on cleanliness. Like you and I were like, oh yeah, the Grand Cali for sure. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to take a dump, it's going to be at the Grand Cali. Number 2, it's Grand Cal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here we see the accommodate. Would you take a number 2 here, George?
I would take a number 2 here. I still think Grand Cali's still my number 1.
Okay.
But I would definitely go number 2 there.
Even with the towel swan looking at you? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Now, both rooms featured spacious bathrooms, but the 1-bedroom villa featured a much larger and more spacious bathroom with 2 sinks on either side of the bathroom, a dedicated area for just the toilet, and then another dedicated area for the shower with a soaking tub in between. So you've had a chance to see the rooms and accommodations at the new Disneyland Hotel's Discovery Tower, but let's head back downstairs now.
Hold on one sec, George. I gotta point something out, man. What is that, dude? Is that a character from Princess and the Frog? Is this a woke headboard? What is Disney doing?
I have no idea. I was kidding.
I'm kidding, everybody. I'm actually kind of like, you know, being funny here. But yeah, it looks beautiful. Yeah. I absolutely love it. And I love this movie.
It's a joke, people. Ha,
it's
ha,
a joke.
laugh.
It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke.
In the words in Mary Poppins, we love to laugh.
Yes. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
accommodations at the new Disneyland Hotel's Discovery Tower. But let's head back downstairs now and out to the pool area to see all the new things waiting for you when staying at the Disneyland Hotel. Now, it already features one of the biggest, if not the best pool complexes in all of the hotels of the Disneyland Resort, but it now just got even bigger. They've added a whole new pool area called the Palette Pool Area, and it also features a splash pad slash play area for kids that's themed to Steamboat Willie. Now, it's important to note that the Palette Pool Area is in addition to the Disneyland Hotel's pool complex and is not separate. So any guests staying at the Disneyland Hotel, whether it's in the regular rooms or the villas, all have access to all the pool areas at the Disneyland Hotel. The new Palette Pool area is also going to feature a brand new bar called the Palm Breeze Bar. Now, this bar isn't quite open just yet.
Yeah, George and I will be there. We'll be there.
Yeah. That's it. Out of everything that we got the pool. We got the number 2 toilet. We got the tub. Nope. We're down at the bar.
Yeah, George and I will be right there. Just like we were at the Poly, dude. That pool at the the pool at the Poly was amazing.
It was amazing.
That was absolutely incredible. And then we sat at they had the bar right there right by the pool.
Yes, and that bar is dangerous for me because that's when I had that mixed concoction, man. After I was done, man, I was loaded.
Dude, I'm telling you, George was feeling good, man. George was feeling good after the poolside at the Poly. I tell you that much.
However, if you are visiting the hotel later in 2023, the cast members at the Disneyland Hotel mentioned to us that this will be opening sometime maybe late October or early November of 2023.
Perfect.
Some other changes.
Now, I'm going to stop it there. I just want to remind everybody that the full video, you can check it out down below. Just ask Danny, friend of the channel. We love Danny, and we love Mondo over there at Five Fires. Check Danny's channel out. I'll also link Mondo's channel, Five Fires, down below. So support their work. They do phenomenal stuff over there, and
they do amazing content. Huge fan. I love what they do over there. So shout out to both Danny and Mondo.
Absolutely. So we're going to pivot a little bit now to Galaxy's Edge. Okay, now Disney has been doing some stuff over here. We've gotten in recent times, we got Mando, we got Baby Yoda or Grogu. We got Ahsoka, Fennec. I mean, they've been infusing a lot of different characters in Galaxy's Edge. Now they're bringing in these little droids. Okay, I don't know if you guys are familiar with like the Star Wars video games, and actually, I think the BD, I think it's BD1, I believe is his name. He made an appearance actually in Mandalorian as well. This is the kind of style of droid that we're looking at here. Mm-hmm. And they had like a little bit of a test run the other day at Galaxy's Edge over at Disneyland. Okay. Always Disneyland, by the way, right? Never Florida. Yeah. Can we be fair to Florida a little bit? Come on.
Yeah, I know. Like it like the roles just reverse. Like Disneyland's like cranking it out.
Yeah, dude. Like Galaxy's Edge, like at Disneyland, they're constantly infusing new stuff. But these are the little droids. They're controlled by a cast member following close behind.
Sorry, brother. It's not showing on the.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, 1 second. There we go.
There we go.
Okay. So yeah, I'll start from the beginning. Sorry about that, everybody. So these are the little droids. They're absolutely adorable. Super cute. And I mean, I don't know. This is the kind of stuff I think that, like George and I, we've been talking about this a lot. Where Galaxy's Edge is a beautiful land. It's like a beautiful mansion, right? But it has no furniture and no pictures on the wall. You need to fill it in and make it a home. This kind of stuff makes it a home. And this is exactly what it needs. I mean, I can't even stand it. They're so fucking cute. What do you think, George?
This is a great start. Like, this gives me hope that Disney is addressing the problem. Okay, out of the gate, I'm a big component of saying that Galaxy's Edge is one that aesthetically the land is great, but there's no heart and soul to it. It's just a good-looking land. This tells me that Disney wants to better further to add more life into Galaxy's Edge. So even though right now this is just a test run, I feel like with the popularity of these droids of just coming out of the gate and the demand for them. And I think that this is just the start of something even bigger, maybe even possibly adding, aliens and creatures and even more droids and bringing more characters to life. And I feel like that this was Disney's opportunity also, even though this is Disneyland, but being that the Galactic Star Cruiser closed over in Florida, that now Disney can maybe utilize some of the things that, just kind of started off in Disneyland, but then they could eventually move it into Walt Disney World's
Right.
Galaxy's Edge because they don't have the Star Cruiser now to
Exactly.
rely on.
Oh, exactly. No, this is what it needs. And look, a lot of fans are critical, and rightfully so, of Galaxy's Edge. I mean, I think there's a lot of like legit criticisms that you can lobby towards Disney in regards to the handling of this land, but they are listening, at least to some degree. Well, yes, it's slow as molasses, the rollout. I mean, but they are slowly but surely they are nicking away at that timeline, that sequel trilogy timeline with Mando and Grogu and right Boba Fett. They're nicking away at it, okay, slowly but surely. They're starting to infuse more personality into the land with droids like this. I think right now, the biggest thing right now would be if Disney were to have like a roaming alien band,
Yes.
where you have just like this, maybe like a small little vehicle of some sort with 2 or 3 aliens in there and singing and playing music, right? And add some music. I think that's really what's missing in Galaxy's Edge is music. You go to every other land at Disneyland and it's pumping music out in the bushes and the trees, right? And I'm not saying you gotta do that, but at least have some sort of like band or musical group that can kind of roam through and provide that element, because right now it feels very separated from the rest of the park without it. It takes itself a little too seriously.
Yeah. I say keep on rolling out the characters, as the movies in the series, part of the Star Wars universe comes out, add them to the land.
Right.
Keep adding more droids like this. I do agree with you. Have an alien band. Add in those banthas, man. I swear, if they could bring out the banthas that was originally part of the original concept, that would be awesome. And also a sit down restaurant.
Yes.
They definitely need a sit down restaurant to kind of fulfill this land as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Chewie agrees, George. Yeah. He wants to sit down so he can have his Medeo and eat I don't know, a sandwich.
A pork sandwich.
Right, there you go. A pork sandwich, exactly. So yeah, this is fantastic. Great move, Disney. I mean, look, there's positive news coming out of Disney. Is there more negative? Yeah. There's probably more negative. Okay, I'll admit that. But there's also a lot of positive. If you're willing to like look out there, you can see that there's good stuff happening right now. And this is a great thing. Now, here's my only criticism, not even criticism, my only worry though with this. We've seen kind of things like this before from Imaginary. Remember Lucky the Dinosaur in the early 2000s?
Mm-hmm.
It made an appearance at DCA for like 3 days. Never to be seen again. I don't know what happened with him, right? He'd never to be seen again. This happens a lot with Disney, where they roll out these kind of like these kind of experiments, these kind of test runs, and they come out and they wow everybody, and you never see them again. It's like the dragon for New Fantasyland flew over the castle, or what I think it was the castle. It flew over the castle for the opening day. We never saw that again either. And that's my only worry with these little guys is that it'll be the one-time thing. It'll be the photo op for the social media, and they'll never be found again. Disney, if you're listening, come on.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Bring these guys out as much as you can. It adds a lot of life, a lot of personality to the land. And come on, that photo pass money. And speaking of money, and speaking of photo pass money, George, we got to play our money drop.
We got to play.
Brand new money, brand new hundreds, got a bunch of zeros like a bag of new Funyuns.
It's photo pass money. It's like money on the table, Disney. So keep these little guys out there, and I'm telling you, you're gonna make bank.
Especially with the price hikes. I mean, because that's what a lot of people are focusing on right now is everything that Disney has with between like the food items, the beverages, Genie Plus, the tickets, the passes, the magic keys, everything, parking, all the prices have gone up. So if you kind of sweeten the deal and add these little extra things in there, then maybe it wouldn't be so much of a burn to Disney fans. But I also feel like too, with all these price hikes, I feel like more so speaking with Disneyland is because of what's on the horizon. And I feel like Disney is kind of prepping themselves
Right.
for something much bigger. And this is what you have up on screen right now is just a little taste of what we have to look
Yeah.
forward to.
Yeah, this is over on Harbor Boulevard side. This was actually the very controversial Eastern Gateway that they ended up scrapping a few years ago. Like I think it was like in 2019. Disney bought, I believe it was the Carousel Inn. They bulldozed it, and they were going to build this parking structure and then a bridge that goes across Harbor Boulevard and empty out into Disneyland's Esplanade. The Harbor Boulevard businesses had a real problem with that because the way that the security checkpoint was placed on the bridge, you would completely bypass all those local businesses, the IHOP, the McDonald's at the time, Captain Kidd, all that stuff, right? So since then, Disney has been much more collaborative with the city and the businesses as opposed to combative. And this new art kind of shows that, there's a parking structure, and they don't really get into details here with the bridge, but from what we're hearing, the bridge will have access to those local businesses and everything. So that's good news. Now, look, the art isn't the most sexy. It's not the most sexiest thing in the world, right? It looks very much like the Mickey and Friends or the Pixar Pal, right? But just having more parking, I think it's gonna be so good. What do you think, George?
Oh, absolutely. And again, this is just a small little piece of detail that's going to go into something much bigger.
Right.
This is what is going to tell to move Disneyland forward, no pun intended, because once you add more capacity for parking in another location aside from those original parking structures and parking lots,
Right.
that frees up the land for potential park expansion and growth, and even possibly for a third gate if and when, I'm not even going to say if, when Disney
Right.
gets the zoning approved from the city of Anaheim.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. The Disneyland Forward stuff is very exciting. It seems like it's pretty much like, I don't want to jinx it here. I'm gonna knock on wood, but I don't want to jinx it. But it seems like it's pretty much a go, and I feel like they're going to get it through. Now, look, is Disney going to get everything they want? No, probably not. Probably not. They're probably not going to get everything they want, and that's fine. And that's part of the negotiation. That's part of the compromise, the push and pull, and anything, But I think for the most part, I think that we're going to get. I think they're going to get the zoning for a lot of this theme park stuff. I think this parking structure will happen, and I think it's a positive. It's a win for Disneyland Resort because look, I've been saying this over and over again. Like, fans bitch and moan every single time Disney rethemes something or they touch an old attraction. Well, if you want there to be less likelihood that they're going to touch your favorite ride, then pray to God that Disneyland Forward gets through, because if they have more room to expand, they're less likely to look at the current attractions to retheme, right? So, for example, Tiki Room, or like maybe there's an idea they want to bring Moana to Disneyland, right? If they didn't have Disneyland Forward, they kind of don't have that many options. Like, well, what do we do? Well, maybe we retheme the Tiki Room, right? That might be something they would consider. But if you add acreage to the resort through a thing like Disneyland Forward, now you can build a proper Moana attraction, and you keep your Tiki Room, you nerds, right? So we get the best of both worlds, and that's really why this is so important. But I do think it's going to go through. I am very, very confident. I'm like, right now, I'm like at 90 something percent. I'd be shocked if it didn't.
Yeah, I am too. I have very high hopes and positive thoughts that this is definitely going to get greenlit. But what I'm not so much is, I don't know, a Moana attraction, that seems a bit pretty far-fetched. I mean, I don't know if Disney would want to go that route with Moana. I mean, who's watching Moana? It's like...
Who's watching Moana? It's like, I'm telling you, man, those Disney Plus numbers, Moana and Bluey. It's like,
yeah, they're crushing it.
Yeah, dude. They're making what we call money.
Brand new money, brand new hundreds, got a bunch of zeros like a bag of new funyuns.
But George, I want to thank you so much for coming on today, talking shop with me today. Had a blast as always. Actually, tonight we're doing a live show. We're doing an Ask Us Anything show live at 5:45 California Pacific time. So everybody watching, check that out. We will be there. You can ask us your questions, whatever you want to talk about too. It could be Disney, it could be parks, it could be streaming. You want to talk music? You want to talk Lil Wayne?
Brand new money, brand new hundreds, got a bunch of zeros like a bag of new funyuns.
You want to talk Blackpink? We'll talk it all. So whatever you want to talk about, we'll discuss it. So check us out tonight at 5:45 California time.
Come along and bring your questions.
Yeah, exactly. George, if you can let everybody home know where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. Also, I'm part of the podcast, A Walk with Walt. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you all for watching. Comment down below with everything that any opinions, thoughts on what we discussed today, the DVC tower over at Disneyland Hotel, the new parking structure, the cute little BD droids over there at Galaxy's Edge. We would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. As always, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye, everybody.
Orange Grove 55.
It's the revolution.